Dave, well, we're letting people in. Would it be okay if I ask everyone maybe to share in the chat their name and what their role is within publishing right now or what they're hoping it to be?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Give us something fun to read. There we go.
Ooh, and I'm always curious about where people are zooming in from. Okay. We have let's see, 13 people signed in, and I think 17 people signed up. I think that's proportionally pretty good, and we can start. Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Peaty. I'm on the board of Publishing Professionals Network. Really excited about the fact that the conference is this Friday. I think it's going to be great. And we did this one time before with this pre-planning session, and we were really lucky to have Linda Ruggeri to kind of guide us through how can we get the most out of this conference? Because I think a lot of times we go to, even if it's a great conference, sometimes we go and we don't know how to make the most of it. And so I know that I'm going to learn tons here tonight, even though I've attended this one before. So I'm going to just go ahead and turn this over to Linda.
Great. Thank you, Dave. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I know Mondays can be hard for some of us. So I appreciate you taking time to be here. This is really a meeting for you. It's really to prepare you for what's going to happen Friday. I myself have given this presentation, I think, for PPN 2 or 3 times, but it's going to be my first time attending the conference in person this Friday. So I am absolutely stoked that finally things have come together where I can be here. My name is Linda Ruggeri. I'm a nonfiction freelance editor based out of Northern California. I'm in Napa Valley right now. I just moved here a few months ago. And the reason this came about, this presentation, and why I like doing it is because I found myself going to different types of conferences over the years and feeling incredible anxiety before the conference and then incredible overwhelm after the conference. And those are two feelings I don't like having very much and struggled with until I started taking steps back and thinking like, okay, why is this happening? What could I have done better? And doing my little kind of post-mortem analysis after every conference. And with that, I realized that if I could get my thoughts in order as to why I was going to the event and who I wanted to meet and why I wanted to meet them, that would really help me kind of organize what I thought the event was going to be like and give me an action plan of what to do when I got there. That way, I wasn't kind of throwing spaghetti in the wall and trying to be everywhere at the same place, smiling and networking and putting my best face forward while at the same time trying to absorb information and take it all in and make sure I didn't forget anything. Once I kind of um, weeded out the noise and focused on the reason I was going and why I needed to be there, that really helped me be present at the event. It really helped me with the way I was meeting other people, how I was going to introduce myself intentionally, how I was going to be able to listen to other people, and then what I was going to do with all that information I gathered at the event afterwards so that it worked for me and it just didn't sit in a notebook on my shelf. So that's kind of the reason of today's meeting is to, you're all seeing each other. Look closely at everyone. Look at those names because you're going to see them again on Friday. And it'll be so nice to be like, oh my gosh, I saw you at that event. I was there. I heard what you had to say. And to help you with that, one of the things that I created with my business partner, Brittany Dowdle, is this thing that we call our conference prep guide. I'm going to put a link. You can download it for free. I'll put it in the chat here if I can find the chat. And this is something if you'd like to print out, you can print it out. I print it out for every conference I go to, and I'll show you what it looks like so that you can, we'll kind of walk through this. So I'm going to share my screen with a tiny agenda that I prepared also. Let me see. Where is this? Okay. Just to give you an idea of what's in for us for the next 45 minutes. Go. And if this was not the meeting you were planning on attending and there was another meeting you need to be at, totally fine. You can walk away, no hard feelings. But today we're going to have a quick introduction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this booklet that I helped create and what are the questions that we all have in common and the things that actually connect all of us that are going to be at this event on Friday. We're going to share a little bit of how maybe to introduce ourselves with other people, which we already started doing in the chat. We're going to return to, we're going to talk about what your conference goals are. And you might have one, or you might have five, or you might have no idea. You just know that you're going, and this meeting is going to help you hone in on what you're trying to achieve by being there. And it's important for you and for me and for Dave and for Emily and for all the board of PPN to know what would make this conference be a success for you, because we all define success differently. And we are all in very different places in our careers, and we all have different goals, and we run different types of businesses. So what means success to me might be very different of what success means to you. So we want to know about, what does success mean to you when you go to attend this conference? Then we'll return to the main meeting, and then we'll have another maybe breakout session, either in a breakout room or we'll just be sharing here to think about what are the sessions that you're looking forward to. And I'll put a link to the schedule in the chat in a second. If you have, any concerns about attending a conference, I know that many of us are a little bit of introverts, or maybe a little bit of extroverts, maybe a little bit of both, and we're like ambiverts. So some of us are concerned, what if somebody approaches me and I have to introduce myself? What if I can't remember what I'm going to say? This little booklet will help you like fine tune those things. I get cold at conferences all the time. And so I realized that if I need to be comfortable and at ease, I need to carry a scarf with me because I never know what temperature it's going to be in the rooms, outside. So what are the things that you need to have that at the conference so that you're not thinking about those things and they're not distracting you from being present? Maybe you're someone who needs a power bar before the conference, or you need to make sure you have a snack on hand or a water bottle. What are those things that you need to bring with you to put you at ease? And then we're going to go back to our main meeting and share some final thoughts. So hopefully we'll be able to get through everything pretty quickly. This is the conference prep guide. This is what it looks like. And then let's go to my talking points and how I introduce myself. So this is going to be probably the biggest thing you're going to be doing over and over and over on Friday. So if you want to practice a little bit of home before you come on Friday, I think it's a great idea. It seems like such 101 information, but when you're at a conference and that favorite publisher or author that you've been wanting to work with shows up and you have to introduce yourself, that is where I fumble. And so if I practice at home, I'm prepared and I know what I'm going to say. And something to keep in mind is this is a publishing conference. This is not a writer's conference. It's not an editor's conference. There's a little bit of everything here. So maybe the way you're going to introduce yourself to other people on Friday might be a little bit different than the way you introduce yourself if you were at an academic conference or at an editing conference. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And I think that the first question for everyone would be maybe to share their goals. And I don't know, does everybody feel comfortable, since we're kind of a small group, sharing openly? And you don't have to share either. You could just lurk and it's all good. I will find you on Friday and I will ask you though. But yeah, I guess I'd like to start off with maybe whoever would like to share what they have, what their goals are for this conference, and introduce yourself, maybe your name, what city you're from, what type of work you do within publishing, and what goals you might have for this conference. Does anyone want to go first? Yes. Alice, would you like to unmute yourself? Oh, wait.
Hold
Not
on.
yet.
I think I have to change that setting. Hold on just a second.
Sure.
Okay, I'm hoping it'll work now. But if they can raise their hands, it'll go, and I can do it manually for each person.
Okay, let's see.
I should be able to find out. It's not like we're not that big a group.
If not, Dave will set your conference goals for you.
Let me see. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Alice and I live in El Cerrito and I'm an academic developmental editor and I'm really interested in learning about the shifts and changes in the industry.
Okay,
That's my goal, my main goal.
great. There have been a lot of shifts and changes, and we're definitely going to be hearing about that, I think, on so many different levels. Great. Welcome, Alice. Good to have you here.
Thank you, and thank you for hosting.
Yes, of course. Who'd like to go next? In the meantime, I'm going to post, if you don't know what the schedule is, and I'll put the link to the schedule here. Well, I'm hosting a panel on Friday, which is, I'll mention this. So I've always wanted to go to a PPN conference. I used to go to, as a freelance editor, to editing conferences, and it wasn't until I got invited. I have a book called Networking for Freelance Editors that got nominated for an IBPA award a few years ago, and they invited me to the ceremony and to the conference. And I didn't think I belonged there, but I thought, out of courtesy, I should show up, I should go. And I went, and when I walked into that conference room, it felt like being with these, I don't know, hundreds of colleagues I had never met before that totally understood me and knew what I was doing. And at the same time, everybody was a potential client. And I was a potential service provider for everyone. And that had really never occurred to me that a conference could fit those needs. I also met there my favorite publisher, who I stay in touch with to this day, an indie publisher. And I didn't have the courage to speak to them until the very last day of the conference because somebody kind of forced me to go talk to them. And I got a project like within 48 hours after that. So my goal this time for this conference is I really would love to know and get to know the PPN members that I've never had a chance to meet in person. I've known Dave and Emily for a while now online, so I'm looking forward to meeting them in person. And I'm really looking forward to hosting the panel on Friday, which is about freelancing and how other people are freelancing within the publishing world and what works for them and what are they struggling with that I might be struggling with as well. Okay, I bared my soul. Who would like to? Emily, would you like to share what you're looking forward to? You've had a long year preparing for this, so.
Yeah. It's so great to see all of you here, and I know a couple of you. But yeah, I'm really excited. We have just a wide range of topics covered on all different panels, trying to hopefully get information for different, folks in all areas of publishing and freelancers and design and marketing and publicity, and then, topics like AI and neurodiversity, and really excited for the keynote speaker and just a chance to connect with new people and reconnect with people I haven't seen for a year maybe. And just excited about the whole topic and to meet Linda finally in person. Yeah, so just looking forward to a good day of wisdom from some experts in the fields and networking and socializing and fun. And I want to mention, I know there's at least one person here who's not local, so there might be a few people here who are attending who are not coming to our conference, but anything that Linda, all the wisdom from Linda can apply to any other conferences or other events that you might be.
Definitely. Yeah, any conference or virtual meeting for sure, or in-person meeting as well, or that next coffee that you might run into someone. So absolutely. Anybody else would like to share? Yes.
I can share. Oh,
Susie,
please
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Okay. Hi everybody. Sorry, I'm not on camera. My name is Susie Chavez. I'm actually the vice president of the PPN board. I love our conference. It's always so nice to be able to get everybody together. I think what I look forward to most every year is the opportunity to actually see people in person and do the community building that is oftentimes so much harder virtually. Um, it is such a pleasure to see people grow and become inspired by the panels they attend and the people they meet. And it is such a privilege to be able to see the team that pulls it together make it happen every year. So I'm very, very excited for Friday.
Excellent. Yes, I can imagine what that must be like, Susie, to be on your end and see all these things happening from the back end and then having everything just come into fruition on Friday. Absolutely. Kristen, did you also have your hands up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. So hi everyone, my name's Kristen. I am relatively very new to the publishing world in the past year. And I've just gotten involved with PPN in the past few months. It's been a delight so far. So this will be my first conference with PPN and my first big publishing conference too. So I'm just looking forward to meeting different people and soaking things in and learning a lot. I don't have super solid topics and I don't know that I'll walk away with any jobs within 48 hours, but I am looking forward to meeting people and getting to know the landscape of the publishing world in the Bay Area a little bit better. So that's it.
Excellent. Yeah, conferences are very magical places. And one of the things, as someone who's been going to conferences for a long time, and I really like meeting people and hearing everybody's story, but one of the things that I've come to realize is that the magic of a conference happens in the in-between spaces. So you're going to be sitting down, you're going to be, listening and be blown away by something or very irritated or, in awe. And then you're going to leave that meeting and on your way to get that glass of water, that cup of coffee, that short conversation that you have with someone next to the table and, realizing you have something in common or they share what they thought. And all of a sudden those exchanges become really magical opportunities for connections in the future. And a lot of times what happens with networking and in publishing is the people that you meet today, nothing really happens immediately, but it pays off 6 months down the line, a year down the line, because you see each other again, because you share a common project, a common interest, or they have an opportunity and they need the type of, professional service provider that you are. So there's a lot of stuff that happens afterwards, but the idea for Friday is for us to learn, but also to kind of drop these seeds of information and about ourselves so that those are going to come and keep growing, after we're gone and after we left the conference. That's like the conference for those of us that have never been there is kind of the beginning of something new happening. So definitely exciting. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Tala? Would you like to go next? Oh, let's see. Dave.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
Oh, okay, great. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Tala. I'm new to the entire publishing scene and not new to Zoom, so I should have unmuted myself. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to networking and I really I was encouraged to attend the conference to learn about, just all things publishing. And I am very much interested in knowing about the marketing and the AI and aspects along with everything else. 'Cause again, this is brand new for me, and obviously the networking sounds like a huge positive in doing something like this. And I'm coming all the way from Los Gatos, which is roughly about an hour and a half from you guys, but very much looking forward to attending. But yeah, I when I signed up, I did not have a publishing deal for my book, and over the last week, I do have one. So that's kind of exciting. So I'm super excited that the project is moving forward. So yeah, thank you for hosting and having us be here. I'm excited to
Great.
hear what everyone else has to say.
Well, you're walking into with a great story already for Friday, so that's excellent. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Maybe you're gonna have to be the one presenting next year. Who knows how it's done? Well,
There you
welcome.
go.
Yeah, of course. You never know. You just never know.
Thank
Doug,
you.
would you like to go next? I don't know. Oh, let me see. Let's unmute you. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
I'm actually just lurking in the shadows, and I'm originally from Campbell, San Jose area, so I know Los Gatos. Kind of miss the place. I haven't been up there that way in a while. So it's good hearing about my old stomping grounds in the Santa Cruz Mountains and stuff. But I'm not planning to attend the conference. I'm just lurking.
Perfect. We love the lurkers. The lurkers are the ones that are taking it all in, and I'm an amazing lurker actually too. So great. Well, it's good to have you here, Doug, and hopefully we'll get to see you maybe at another virtual event for sure, or at the next one.
Definitely the virtual. It's just
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm just shifty-eyed for stuff that I'm not actually attending. So
Yeah, no problem, no problem. This is where we learn also about what's happening. So,
yeah.
Dave, I see your hand up.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to say that one of the things I really like about the PPN conference is that it is this big umbrella. And I think there's something interesting that happens when you start connecting with people who are still within publishing, but outside of your immediate field, and you get this interesting synergy. And I've actually, managed to get work that way, even though I've been, I'm in the editing and production side and design side of things, but I'll connect with someone in, PR or publicity or in acquisitions, and that's how I end up connecting with them.
Right. And he's like this wisdom book of networking as well. Everybody knows Dave, and he has a lot to share and a lot of information out there. Yeah, if you see Dave on Friday, definitely hit him up for information. And what's the secret to success in publishing?
Yeah, I mean, I first of all, if you look at the sessions that we have, there are some really interesting ones that I've not seen anywhere. Look, for instance, the neurodiversity one, I love. Like, I live with someone who's pretty, on the spectrum of neurodiversity, and so I find this subject really fascinating, but I don't know much about it in the context of work and publishing and all that kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Excellent. Yes. And let's talk about that in a little bit. I want to bring that up as well. We'll talk a little bit about what are the sessions that are going to be happening. Because there's a lot happening and we're not going to be able to be at everything at the same time. So this is a good place to think about who you might connect with before the conference, and you might like divide and conquer. And everybody, does their own session and you share notes afterwards. That's another strategy too. Carla, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi. I just recently moved from Santa Cruz to Morgan Hill to be closer to my parents. So I'm newly in that area again. Yes, I have been to a couple of the PPN conferences, have loved them. They're smaller, and more intimate. And I've met a lot of really interesting people. I serve authors who are looking for a publishing path, most of them self-publishing. But I also help them find a publisher if they're indeed qualified to do that. So at the PPN, I've found a few small presses and have sent authors to them. So I would love to just get to know, designers, editors, small press, anyone who helps self-publishing folks. And also I train people who are new to the publishing industry, who are publishing professionals. So I'd love to get them into my community where they can actually talk to actual authors who are struggling, who know really nothing about publishing or the writing world even. So I love getting people in to talk to my audience and my community. So I'd love, that would be a win for me, just to meet more people and to get the publishing pros and into my community to help the authors that I serve as well.
Excellent. Great. Well, I think, yes, you're definitely bring a big book to write down names and
Yeah.
contact information. There's going to be a lot happening. One of the things that sometimes we forget, even I think because we're just so locked up in our own worlds, but a lot of the stuff that we're doing in terms of indie publishing and self-publishing here in the US is at the forefront of a lot of other countries. And not every country has the market developed as much as we do here. So sometimes we forget how much we know, and we don't know how much we know. So these conferences are really great places to expand your vision, maybe broaden, your idea of what kind of audience you want to be serving with, depending on the type of publisher that you are or what role you play in publishing. But a lot of times what you know can be replicated in other countries with other authors from other countries, with other publishers from other, you already have the heads up on what's happening, and these conferences are great places to understand that. So one of the panels that's happening is books translation and international rights. And that's something that we're seeing so much more happen now, especially with Spanish being the second most read language in the country. And translating books is expensive. I know that for a fact. I'm a Latina, so I also write in Spanish and edit in Spanish, but I know the cost of translating can be very prohibitive for a lot of people. It's the same with audiobooks. So just being at these conferences helps us understand what is happening in the market, how things have to get done, who can help me get that information. So this is a great conference to pick 5 people that you don't have in your network that you need to have right now so that you can brainstorm with, you can pick their brain, you can understand how it's done, so that tomorrow when you have to refer that client or that friend to that indexer or to that translator or to that foreign rights specialist, you've already met someone who's doing it successfully. So a lot of times I see this specifically with editors, because I move a lot with writers and editors. And in the editing world, we tend to be very hyper focused on editing, and we forget that as editors, we depend so much on all these other roles in publishing to be able to do our work. So if you're an editor, connecting with a book cover designer, with an interior, layout designer, with a typesetter, with an index, like all of these people work with editors. And it's the same with writers. If you're a writer, you're going to need an author website at some point. You're going to need somebody to help you with your meta descriptions. So there's a lot of different things within publishing happening. But anyways, who would like to go next? Elizabeth, would you be up for sharing about what your goals are for this conference?
Yeah, hi, I'm Elizabeth Bartmus. I'm a freelance book indexer. I live in Union City, California. I confess I will not actually be at this conference because I have a pre-existing conference to go to, but I'm hoping to be at future PPN events. And I am looking to connect with other people in various fields of publishing who are thinking about client education and outreach surrounding artificial intelligence, particularly shortcomings of artificial intelligence.
Perfect. I love that. Yes, because we still need humans to do a lot of that work with artificial intelligence. Great. And now here we have an indexer that we can reach out to. Elizabeth, do you mind sharing what type of indexing or within what genres you work?
I work with pretty much whatever comes to me. I do a lot of embedded indexing. To the extent I have a specialization, I'd say technology and programming and design, and also social sciences.
Excellent. Wonderful. Good. Well, I'm so glad you're here today. Great. And hopefully we'll see you at the next virtual meetup as well. Who am I missing? Jennifer?
I was excited when you said lurking was a possibility. Because I really, Linda, I need to go through your workbook because I don't know how to introduce myself. But I live in Berkeley and I'll be at the conference. I'm really excited. I'm a freelance editor, and right now I've been working just directly with authors. But my background's in design and architecture, so I have I'm comfortable also reviewing visual design work like covers and interior layouts and things. And I would like to, first of all, I'm going just to learn as much as I can about publishing and to feel like I'm a part of something because I'm working by myself in my house. But I am really introverted and very shy. So that's also a challenge. So I'm excited.
Well, you did great. Your presentation was great. Your introduction was great. And now you have another like 15, 16 people here that you'll already know by Friday. That's the whole purpose of this meeting, is that you're not going solo anymore. You will have met all the people that are on this call already. So
I would love to be connected just ongoing to a team of publishers so that, book designers and the like, so that, so I don't have to, I just like to be a part of maybe hybrid publishing or self-publishing and just, I don't know, this is what I'm thinking, but I could totally change directions after the conference, who knows?
hey, you might be like, I don't want nothing to do with this group at all anymore. Well, hopefully that's not the case.
Maybe I'll just want to get a job and stop trying really hard at freelancing, which is its own set of
Yeah, it has its own set of challenges. Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
for sure. But no, you're in a great space. You're in great company as well. So welcome. And I'm so glad you made it. And I'm so glad, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm glad you spoke up, because we all now know who you are, and we'll see you on Friday, and we know what you're interested in. So
It's
welcome.
a friendly crowd, so.
It is.
And one thing I just wanted to say, and someone else I think said this, but just to know, it's not a huge conference, which is nice. It's not like thousands of people. We'll probably be about 100 or a little over for it. So it's manageable. You can meet the people you want to meet. You can meet new people. So that's what's another really nice thing about the conference, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And here's like a little networking pro tip, and some of you maybe already do it. I kind of learned this late in the game, but I will bring a small Sharpie with me. And whenever I get a business card and I meet someone, immediately the minute they leave, I flip it over and I write down liked cats, or we talked about this, because I tend to forget specific things that I talked about. And those are really good reminders for me, mnemonic ways to remember people by. So, bring a Sharpie just in case, or a really good pen that will write on anything, so you can remember. Who am I missing? I know, Stephen, would you like to go next? And if I haven't called your name yet, would you like raise your hand so we know, and Dave can unmute you? There we go. Perfect. Okay, great. Terry Hadley.
Hi. Sorry, I'm working on a deadline, so I'm sort of halfway lurking here. But I'm a book producer, and I'm based in Santa Barbara, California. And I've been coming to these conferences with PPN way back when it was Book Builders West, probably for more than 30 years. But I've loved all of the networking and meeting and socializing, with other professionals, because working as a freelancer, you're rather isolated, even though you meet a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But I started my own company several years ago, and I work with authors and for major publishers or independent publishers. And I have a big background in design and production, but I also love meeting people at every aspect, because I can help bring a story from the idea to the finished product, and even deliver books, not just files, but actually books delivered from wherever. Overseas is the biggest challenge at the moment. So I like to meet everyone, and find out what everyone's doing and what their expertise is, and see where I can put people together and collaborate for my projects. So
yeah, what a great opportunity. And Emily, what you were saying, that this is a small conference, is such a relief to know that it's going to be manageable, that you're not going to be fighting crowds for the last muffin, or that you'll be coffee, you'll be able to get there, that you're not have to. The last conference I went to last year, I'm not going to mention what conference it was, but it was a big conference. And I needed to get half an hour before the session to be able to book a seat, or to find a seat, because if not, there were no seats available and you would get locked out, because it would be a room capacity. And that was just not enjoyable at all, because you were more stressed out thinking of where you needed to be, or leave a session early to be able to be available for the next session, than being able to be present at the session you were actually at. So it's really nice to know that it's going to be manageable, and will be. Okay. Okay, that's not related to us. I was sorry, I was reading the chat. Hadley, did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it Hadley? Yes?
Yes, yeah, Hadley.
Great, welcome.
Thank you. I'm a book designer and typesetter. So I work with literary magazines and publishers and authors to design their covers and interiors. And then I typeset them, and I've been learning how to do EPUBs recently, which doing some coding, which my dad would be proud of. I never thought I'd be doing that, so it's been a little scary, but I think I'm doing a good job. And yeah, I'm not going to this conference, unfortunately, but I just went to LA for AWP.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really lovely. And I think I did my best job networking at that one. So I'm I just like meeting people and making friends, and I feel like thinking about it in that way and instead of being like, what what am I gonna get out of this
Exactly.
interaction? Like in terms of like making actual friends, like that has really helped me be more genuine and think of things in a little bit of an easier way.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I'm a very big advocate of, and it's what you're saying, Hadley, is intentional networking and non-transactional. I feel transactional is so 1980s now, and thank goodness that we don't have you walking around with our, glass of beverage of something and cheese platter, trying to negotiate, pulling out the business card out of my pocket and staying professional and smiling. So I think we've all relaxed a bit and we've moved on from those times, and now. And we don't have to be friends with everybody. We don't have to network with everybody. We don't need to have, 5,000 LinkedIn connections. That doesn't matter. The numbers are not what matters. What is it? Brittany Dowdle, my colleague, always says, it's not how many people you have. Well, it's kind of like not how many people are in your network, but the quality of the people that are in your network, and can you rely on them when the time comes? When things get heated, are they going to be there for you, and are you going to be there for them? And one of the things that works best in networking is when you think about what you can bring to the table first. So what you're putting out there and what you can offer someone else to help them with their work and what problem you can help them solve is such a much more effective strategy for networking, and to forming those authentic, long-lasting business relationships. So food for thought. And then Dylan, would you like to go next? We recently met a few weeks ago online also.
We did indeed. My name is Dylan Gish. I have a background in higher education and doing editing, primarily in a humanities, and in somewhat of a social science context. I'm primarily at the moment working as a freelance writer and editor. And I'm excited to get to come to this conference to understand a little bit more the lay of the land of publishing, the field in which a lot of this takes place that's been invisible to me. So thanks so much.
Great. Well, good to see you here. I'm glad to hear that. I met Dylan through the Editorial Freelancers Association at a meeting we had a few weeks ago. So it's great to see him here too. I think the only person I'm missing, if I'm not mistaken, is Stephen. I don't know if you can hear us, or you might be lurking, which is okay too. But if you'd like to speak up and tell us about your goals, if not, you can write about it in the chat as well. Anybody else, any thoughts about is there anything that you're afraid of? Like literally, I'm afraid that you all don't know I'm 5'1", and when you see me on Friday, you're going to expect that I'm going to be so much taller and so much more, I don't know, professional looking. No, I'm going to warn everybody I'm 5'1", I'm small.
We'll get you a soapbox.
I bring my own just in case. So
You can just say you're 6'2" like Trump, and it doesn't matter that he's only 5'8", you know?
Yeah, and my 5'1" looks like a 4'9" more, I have a feeling. So, but is there anything that you're concerned about for Friday? Anything that you want to make sure
Do you know any midgets you can bring with you?
No.
I'll come in on a second because I'm only 5 feet.
Perfect. Okay, we are forming the 5-foot clan. If anybody silently wants to join us, let us know.
I've only got 2 feet.
You'll reach out to us on Friday, so for sure. But no, seriously, are there any concerns, anything that you think I don't know about this, or I'm worried about that, or?
Well, I wondered if it was appropriate to ask for a list of all of the registrants and if people gave permission to give their contact information.
Yeah, the short answer is we did ask everyone permission because we share them with the sponsors. And I think it will provide a great networking opportunity if we did provide that information. At the very least, I want to send out our name tags because sometimes when people are entering the information when they register, they will have a typo and they don't know that they have had a typo. So the worst thing is to have a name tag with either your name misspelled or your company name misspelled. So I kind of want to send it off to everyone. And I think we're going to have a planning team meeting tomorrow, and we're going to discuss that whole issue of sharing with the people who've registered and not have it just be for the sponsors. But yeah, when people sign up, there is a little notice somewhere in not too tiny type, but that says, by registering, you're agreeing to give your contact information to the sponsoring companies. So
Right.
That'd be great.
Right. We have 15 minutes left, and I would like to know what each of you absolutely brings to the conference to make your experience more enjoyable, or that you don't forget, or to make you more productive. So what are things, because this helps everybody else when they get to the conference, there's always, you're looking at someone and be like, oh, I wish I would have brought that. I didn't think of it. This is our 5 minutes to share what we like to bring if we were going, if you were, and for those of you that are not going to the conference, you've been to conferences before, is there anything that you always bring that you don't want to forget?
Hadley's got their hand raised.
Hey, yeah, I bring my Reckless Records tote bag because a lot of people know about Reckless Records in Chicago and I worked there, so it starts conversations. And this year I brought a recent book that I designed that was on sale at the conference, and that was like a huge selling point. I didn't just like whip it out or anything, but like if they were asking me like what I'd recently worked on or something, I'd be like, oh, I have like this little book right here that I did. So
Wonderful. That's a really great tip. Good. Excellent. I love that. Yes, conversation pieces. Everybody's looking for a conversation piece. I have a little snowy plover pin that I bring that nobody knows what it is because it's so small, and then I have to explain it, but at least it gets us talking and conversation started. But Dave, you had your hand up.
There were a couple of people at last year's conference who wore interesting, funny, unusual t-shirts. And sometimes we think, oh, t-shirt, we want to look really super professional. But the whole notion of having something like Hadley said, that's a conversation starter, I think is great. And the t-shirts were great. I don't think anybody's thought less of the people for their t-shirts. So that's something to think about. And I also did want to point out that, PPN, networking is in the name, and we're trying to provide as many opportunities for people to connect as possible. So keep in mind when you're at the conference that there are going to be other opportunities through PPN for you to connect with other people. So we have, for instance, we have every month, we have a Zoom meetup that you can come and you can lurk there. Really fun, interesting conversations and very low key because it's not, kind of power-driven subject matter. And then we also try to have in-person meetups, usually at some group hub or something somewhere in the Bay Area. And so I just want to make sure that people know that they're not limited. Oh, and we have a Slack channel if you become a PPN member. We're trying to get more people engaged with that. So we want to make sure that there are as many ways as possible because people have lots of different ways of connecting and networking with people. So just wanted to point that out. I know you had a good question. You might want to repeat it. I don't know.
No. It was just like, does anybody bring anything specific to the conference that they need, I don't know how old your cell phones are. Do you need a battery pack to carry so that you don't run out of juice when you're there? A water bottle, if maybe you're a sparkling water kind of person, or whatever drink that you have to have, or you dehydrate easily. Conferences can be stressful places. You want to be hydrated. You don't want to be hungry. Hungry makes cranky people, and that's not the best attitude to have when you're networking. So, Jennifer, did you have any ideas? I think I saw your hand up, or no? Or was I? No? Okay. Anybody? Carla? Carla seems like someone who's totally prepared for conferences all the time.
You know what? I don't do this with your conference because you have really comfy seats. But I have this little thermarest thing that I sit on for other conferences. But like I said, I don't need it for you. But yeah, refillable hot water bottle. Yeah, you have lots of great food and drinks and tea. So I always want tea. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that our conference, Emily is the one who sets it up, and we always get it catered by Anne's Catering, and we'll have breakfast stuff. So if you need something right away when you arrive, we obviously have coffee and tea and stuff as well. But it's a great lunch, and we always have too much food, so you don't have to worry about getting the last muffin. I think that's what you said, Linda, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to worry about that at a conference.
Yeah, not an issue.
Anybody else? Any other suggestions or advice? Like I mentioned, I bring a scarf. I have a notebook. I'm a note taker. I know some of you are laptop people that take notes. I don't know how you do it, but this is great. Maybe again, consider that maybe you want to share your notes with someone else if you're not able. I was looking at the sessions again right now. Let me share the sessions because I think it's important that everybody look at this really quickly. And because you're going to start thinking like, maybe I was going to go to this one, but actually I really need to be at this other one. So our keynote is Fawzia Burke. Dave, can you tell us a little bit about Fawzia or Emily? For those that don't know her.
Yeah, so she is a digital marketing expert and an author. So her talk is going to include a lot about AI and probably, with a marketing slant. But she's also, like I said, an author. She's published by Barrett Kohler, so she can speak to that. And she's also, she has her own company, and she also will be she's doing double duty for us. So she's doing the keynote and she's on a digital marketing panel. So
excellent.
Yeah, and she's excited. I've never met her in person, but she's coming up from Southern California as well. So we're excited to have her.
Great. Our sessions are Audacious and Subversive, Impact Strategies from Indie Publishers. Indie publishing has changed so much in the last couple of years that what worked or what we were doing 5 years ago is not all what we're doing right now. And everybody, I feel like we're all on our toes trying to figure out what are the moving parts and how much they're moving. And we have so much more weight now than some of the traditional publishing houses have had. So there's a lot of information being shared. There's a lot changing. Not everything is set in stone. So this is a great session to really know what are people thinking about and what are they concerned about or where do they see things, going. Book translation and international rights. We forget so much that there's all this ginormous market outside the US of people that read. And does your book or does your client's book or does your friend's book need to be translated or sold for foreign rights abroad? And that is a difficult thing to do. So knowing how it's done and hearing experts do it and opening that other window, that other revenue stream could be really important maybe for you. We have digital promotions, industry trends and tools. This never gets old. We are still talking about social media and best practices for authors because it's changing so much and the way we consume social media has changed so much in the last few years. Metadata, huge thing. Trends and predictions for digital promotions. A lot of times, even though I'm an editor and I'm also an author, publisher for my own books, but we forget that this might be information that might help our clients. So I might not be using some of these things and I might have nothing to do with social media maybe for authors, but knowing what my clients need to know about it is a really helpful thing to have in my tool belt, and it can really set me apart as a service provider. So a lot of times it might not apply specifically to the work you're doing, but it might open the door for other kinds of services that you can provide. And we have lunch, book promotions workshop, huge. I don't need to say anything about that because we know how much book promotions are needed to sell books in the indie publishing world. Neurodiversity in publishing. I don't know how much everybody knows about this or how much you've been reading about it, but there's a whole world opening up and a whole market that we need to be paying attention to and things that we can do that don't require that much work, but that will make all our books accessible to everyone so that everyone has the same experience as someone who doesn't have, maybe doesn't have a visual impairment or isn't, neurodiverse. So it's just really important to know what's happening in the industry, to be aware and to see how maybe you can make your products or what you're writing or what your clients are writing better and more accessible for everyone. Demystifying AI workshop. There's so much happening also in this, and this is evolving so much and so quickly. So things that we need to know: printing and manufacturing roundtable, strategies for publishers. Again, a lot of things are changing. PPN had a great couple of sessions this year. I remember the one, Dave, about the cost of printing and the cost of paper and what things are, how that's changing and shifting the way we're producing books. Navigating the audiobook landscape. Audiobook is one of the biggest markets that has grown in the last few years. You have consistent work in the freelance landscape. This is a challenging one and also has been changing a lot. I was reading some statistics that were put out by Forbes about how many new people have joined the freelance marketplace and what do we need to do to be prepared and, to set ourselves apart maybe. So these are just the sessions that we're going to be seeing. You might want to divide and conquer with other people on Friday. I have a question for Emily and Dave. What happens if we can't attend a session? Are these being recorded? Will they be invited to speak at a different moment, maybe with PPN?
Yeah, we are not recording them this year, with the exception of the keynote speech. And I think mainly because we decided that we really want this to be a very interactive. I mean, we talked about how relatively small this conference is and how kind of human sized in scope it is. And I think we really wanted to do that. The other thing is we put a lot of effort and time and money into recording them a few years back, and then we posted them, and not that many people went and watched them. And I think that's just sort of the name of the game. But I did want to say that we do have a lot of professional development sessions on Zoom, and those are recorded, and those are up on our YouTube channel. And I'm going to share a link to that at the conference to make sure people know about that.
Perfect. So the message is, if you're not going to be able to attend the session, get those names down, find where those people are, see what work they're doing so that you can stay in touch or search them or talk to someone who's been at the session probably afterwards.
Yeah, and here's a little inside scoop for the people who are on the session tonight that nobody else might know. And I know Emily's not going to be happy with me for saying this, but if you decide at the last minute you want to switch to another session, you absolutely can do that. It's not like the kind of thing where they're locking the door, like the conference that you were talking about. There's flexibility there. Sorry,
we don't
Emily.
have a bouncer at the door for each session. So yeah, you can make last minute changes. We're a pretty informal event. And yeah, so
Can you imagine what it was like when I couldn't get into the sessions I wanted to get into? There were no muffins or coffee or tea left.
That's just wrong.
My feedback after that conference was very strongly worded. No, I'm kidding. Everyone, any last minute questions? Anything else that anybody wants to address? Dave?
This is not a question, but I did want to say this, that one of the things that you can do after you go to this conference, if you loved it and want to be involved in the planning of it for next year, it's very easy to join that team. You don't even have to be that local. We do all the planning on Zoom. But or if there were things that you didn't like about it and you want to see improve, you can also join the planning team. So that's the great thing about PPN being an all-volunteer nonprofit, that there's plenty of opportunities for you to engage. And if you want to join in, then you decide like, this isn't for me, that's okay. It's not a big deal.
I'm going to second what Dave was just saying, because volunteering is your networking superpower, and the opportunities. I actually tallied this 2 years ago. The best projects I got 2 years ago, the ones that paid the highest, the ones that were the most enjoyable, all came because of people I met through volunteering. Those are the people that opened the doors for me and referred me to get that kind of work. So volunteering for PPN would be an amazing thing to do. It will really expand your horizons, and you will be working with people that are working in your area in your niche, in your industry, you know, on projects that everybody's passionate about. So I would definitely consider that if you're able to do that. And most of the volunteering is all done online nowadays. So you can do it from the comfort of your own home in your own sweatpants and pajamas. So.
And we do also have a post-conference survey that will go out. So you can also share your feedback, positive and negative there. Constructive criticism is welcome.
Yes. Great. Well, if no one has anything else to add, I put my contact information there in the chat. I hope to see many of you on Friday. If you have any questions, save them for us for Friday as well. We look forward to meeting you. Come up to us, say hi. Everybody, the PPN board will be there. Make sure you introduce yourselves, meet who these people are, the movers and the shakers that are making this happen. Because we wouldn't be, you know, at the conference on Friday if it weren't for them that are allowing us to be there. So, and doing all this great content and service for the members. So thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Yeah, this is
We're
great.
just so thrilled that we're going to finally get to meet you if we
I
ever
know.
find you.
Right. We'll look down.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So good seeing everyone. Have a great evening.
See a lot of you on Friday. Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I did have a question. So, Linda, you had a link in the notes about to your pre-conference planner thing.
Yes.
Should I be sending that also to everyone who registered for the conference?
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's free, so they can download it there. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll do
No
that.
problem.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.